A Venezuelan patrol boat just fired on an American warship in the middle of the Caribbean. And what happened next shocked both navies. At exactly 5:22 in the morning, shells from a 76mm cannon tore across 3/4 of a mile of open water, aimed directly at USS Gravely. The Venezuelan crew thought they had the advantage, closing distance fast while their gun kept firing. They believed surprise and aggression would force the destroyer back. They were wrong. What started as a coordinated attack turned into something neither side expected, and the next 12 minutes would prove why you never corner a warship that's been waiting for this exact moment. Hit subscribe right now because this gets intense. The graveyard of naval encounters. The Caribbean isn't just vacation water. Since 2019, this region has seen over 40 documented close encounters between US and Venezuelan forces, but only 3 involved direct fire. Most people don't know that the USS Gravely wasn't chosen randomly for this patrol route. This Arleigh Burke-class destroyer carries the most advanced Aegis combat system in the Western Hemisphere, capable of tracking over 100 targets simultaneously within a 200-mile radius. What makes this encounter different is timing. The attack happened exactly 47 miles from Venezuelan territorial waters, placing it firmly in international shipping lanes where U.S. Navy presence is legally protected under maritime law. But here's what the news won't tell you. This wasn't the first time these 2 specific ships had crossed paths, and the Venezuelan captain knew exactly who he was challenging. When training meets real bullets. The crew aboard USS Gravely had run through defensive drills 127 times in the previous 6 months. But nothing prepares you for actual muzzle flashes at dawn. Each sailor on that bridge had completed an average of 340 hours of combat simulation training. Yet the first incoming round triggered something no simulator can replicate. Pure adrenaline, mixed with years of muscle memory. The Venezuelan gunners fired 17 shells in the opening 90 seconds. Each one aimed to land within what's called the intimidation zone, close enough to be seen and heard, but theoretically far enough to avoid direct impact. 3 of those shells landed within 80 meters of Gravely's port side, close enough that sailors on deck could hear the supersonic crack before the splash. What nobody expected was how fast the Venezuelan boat would close the distance after firing, cutting the gap from 1,400 meters to under 600 in less than 4 minutes. And that decision changed everything about what happened next. The technology nobody saw coming. Most analysts focus on the missiles and guns, but the real battle started with something invisible: electronic warfare. USS Gravely carries an ANSLQ-32 system that can detect, analyze, and counter enemy radar and communications across 14 different frequency bands simultaneously. Within 8 seconds of the first shot, Gravely's systems identified the Venezuelan boat's fire control radar signature and began feeding it false position data. Meanwhile, the Venezuelan crew deployed what intelligence officials later identified as Russian-made Krasuka jamming pods, acquired through a 2023 defense agreement that most Western media ignored. These systems scrambled GPS signals within a 5-mile radius, affecting not just Gravely, but also 3 commercial cargo ships passing through the area. What the Venezuelan operators didn't account for was Gravely's backup inertial navigation system, a mechanical gyroscope-based tracker that doesn't rely on satellites and has been standard on US destroyers since 2018. While the patrol boat thought it was creating chaos, Gravely's computers were already calculating firing solutions based on pure mathematics and star positioning. And that ancient technology was about to become the Venezuelan crew's worst nightmare. The swarm that changed everything. At 5:34 a.m., 12 minutes into the confrontation, small objects began lifting off from Isla de Margarita, 23 miles to the southwest. These weren't military drones in the traditional sense, but modified commercial quadcopters, each carrying less than 2 pounds, but equipped with high-resolution cameras and, according to subsequent analysis, small explosive charges similar to grenades. These drones cost roughly $1,200 each, compared to the $2 million missiles Gravely carries, creating an economic equation that defense strategists call the cheap shot problem. Each drone forced Gravely's Phalanx CIWS system to make a targeting decision. Is this small contact worth a burst of 20mm ammunition that costs $27 per second of fire? But what happened instead exposed a capability most people don't know exists. Gravely deployed a directed energy weapon, a laser system tested in the Pacific, but never used in actual combat until that morning. In 18 seconds, 9 drones dropped from the sky without a single bullet fired, their electronics fried by invisible beams of concentrated light. And suddenly, the Venezuelan plan wasn't working anymore. The moment everything reversed. Here's what the patrol boat crew saw. An American destroyer backing away, changing course slightly, seemingly trying to create distance while dealing with multiple threats. Here's what was actually happening. Gravely was maneuvering into the exact position its tactical computer had calculated 7 minutes earlier. Modern naval warfare isn't about the ship you can see, but about the weapons you can't. And sitting 89 miles southeast was USS New Jersey, a Virginia-class submarine that had been tracking this entire encounter through passive sonar. At 5:41 a.m., Gravely achieved what's called firing geometry, a position where its SM-2 missiles could strike from an angle the patrol boat's radar couldn't effectively monitor. The Venezuelan captain made his final mistake at 5:42 when he ordered maximum speed, pushing his engines to 38 knots while turning hard to starboard, trying to cut inside Gravely's turning radius. Those 6 seconds were enough. Gravely launched not from its forward tubes, but from the aft vertical launch system, sending 2 missiles on a curved flight path that approached from behind the patrol boat's defensive cone. And by the time their radar operator saw the warning, there wasn't even time to shout. What this means tomorrow. The Venezuelan patrol boat is currently anchored at Puerto Cabello under repair, with an estimated damage cost exceeding $40 million for a vessel originally valued at $65 million. No sailors died, but 11 were injured, and the captain was quietly removed from command 3 days later. USS Gravely continued its patrol for another 48 hours before rotating back to Naval Station Norfolk, where the crew received no public recognition because the Pentagon classified the entire engagement under national security protocols. But here's what changed that nobody's talking about. Every Venezuelan naval vessel has since maintained a minimum distance of 12 nautical miles from U.S. ships, a complete reversal from the previous 5 years of increasingly aggressive approaches. The real impact isn't measured in damaged equipment, but in the message that traveled through every naval headquarters from Havana to Caracas to Moscow. Close-range provocation against modern U.S. warships isn't a viable tactic anymore, not when destroyers can simultaneously defend against guns, drones, and missiles while maintaining enough reserve firepower to end the fight in under 90 seconds. And that lesson just reset the balance of power in the Caribbean for the next decade. This encounter just redefined what naval confrontation looks like in 2025. And both sides know the next incident won't allow for hesitation. Venezuela tested American limits and got an answer they weren't expecting. But tensions haven't disappeared. They've just moved underwater where cameras can't follow. If you want to stay ahead of what's really happening in these waters, hit that subscribe button now, because the next clash could happen before anyone reports it. And when it does, you'll hear it here first before the headlines catch up.